All right, guys. So after the success of the SHOKZ OpenDots 1 and then the SHOKZ OpenFit Pro, which has been my favorite earbud of the year, I haven't used any other earbud as much as I've used the OpenFit Pro. I'm on board with you guys. I'm just as excited, or was just as excited, to check out the SHOKZ OpenDots 2, which was just released, I believe, yesterday. A lot of you guys had already requested that I check them out, so that's what we're going to do today. It is a pair that comes in at $199, which is the same price as the OpenDots 1, but we're going to see what all they've improved on these. We're going to see what they've done with the sound, which that was the thing that I was curious about the most, especially after what they did with the OpenFit Pros. So we're going to see if they're worth the $199 price tag. So to start with, some of the features on these is they did upgrade to Bluetooth 6.1, where the original OpenDots 1 came in at Bluetooth 5.4. They did also upgrade the Dolby Audio. Now I want to go ahead and say this right now, right off the bat. Dolby Audio was not even something that I used much on the original OpenDots 1, and even after testing these, I'm still not impressed with what Dolby Audio is doing in these. There's just something about Dolby Audio that's adding like this little reverb to the sound. It's just trying to give you this illusion that it's much more open than it normally is, and I'm just not a fan of it. I mean, it's not doing any justice to any music that I'm listening to. Movies, TV shows, it's fine, but it's just still not something there that I recommend using. But the OpenDots 2 do have wear detection, which is nice. So if you take them out of your ears, it just pauses. You put them back on, it'll just go back to what you were listening to. And speaking of putting them in your ears or taking them out of your ears, they also have it now where it doesn't matter which ear you put it in. It will automatically detect which one is left and which one is right. So you just take them out of the case or just pick them up or whatever and just put them on your ears, and the earbuds will just detect which one, and then you're good to go. Now they do use two different types of controls. You have a squeeze gesture on the part that goes like right around the back side of your ear, and it also uses touch controls. And I am happy to say that out of the box you do get control over everything. And then it also has a personalized EQ setting. Now you can go in the app and just pick a preset EQ setting, or you can kind of customize it and dial it in the way that you want. But they also have a personalized one where you go through different hearing tests. And I want to say this, I went through it several times because I thought something just must have went wrong the first time. It is so far off from what I prefer to listen to for what it's giving me as my personalized EQ. And I purposely went through and picked the bass heaviest ones when it's giving your A or B options, and it still gives me a EQ setting that has no bass at all. There's no life to the sound, and I just couldn't find one that I liked. So I did dial in the sound and found one that I could customize on my own. So the personalized EQ setting is just not something that I think works really well in these. Now, the other thing that they advertise on here is the Bass Sphere 2.0. This is basically the way that the speaker works in here, because it is using dual 11.8mm dynamic drivers, and inside the sphere, the part that's, you know, kind of hovering above your ear canal, it has both drivers kind of facing each other. It's kind of trapping this sound in the dome, and it's channeling it out this single strip speaker that's going right into your ear canal. And so we'll talk about this a little bit more once we talk about the sound, but this is a feature that they've advertised because they're saying that these have more bass than the OpenDots 1. And I will say it definitely has more bass than the OpenDots 1, but we're going to talk about whether that's a good thing or not. Now, as far as the design and the look and everything on these, they do come in 3 different colors. They have a black, a silver, and then just a white version. The case on here is a Qi wireless charging case, so you can just drop it on any wireless charger. They do include a USB-C cable if you do want to use that for charging, but just know that you don't have to. And then the earbuds are definitely comfortable. This is something that I think is very important in a style of earbud that's made to be worn all day. Obviously, this style is made where it's not all the way in your ear canal, so you can kind of be aware of your surroundings. But I'm also going to say this too, though. These sit enough in your ear canal that if you're even listening to these at any kind of decent volume, you're not really hearing your surroundings anyway. So this is something that I think is also just kind of made for people that can't wear normal earbuds that use ear tips. It kind of allows you to have a different option So that's kind of what I used them as. This is definitely not one that I think you can hear your environment as much as you can some of the other, especially the designs that kind of hover more on the outside part of your ear and not necessarily sit more inside of your ear canal. Now, the battery life on these is definitely impressive. On a single charge, you can get 10 hours on the earbuds and about 40 hours using the case. So with that, you can tell that you'll be able to listen to these through a full work day, not have to pull them out to actually charge them. And then if you do happen to pick them up and they are dead, these have a fast charging feature where a 5-minute charge will get you 2 hours of use. Now, this is an improvement over the OpenDots 1 because a 10-minute charge was required to get you 2 hours of use. So now they've even cut that in half. And then if you are going to use these outdoors, this is another area where they've improved upon. The original OpenDots 1 came in with an IP54 rating, and now with the OpenDots 2, you have an IP57. So they've improved the water protection on these. They've kept the same amount of dust protection, which I think it's nice that it has dust protection anyway on a pair that's made to be worn all the time, because you can be at the beach, you can be on a job site, you don't have to worry if there's dust or sand or anything like that flying around. And then now the improved water protection means you definitely don't have to worry with rain or sweat or splashes or anything like that. And if you do just happen to drop them in water real quick, you don't have to worry that your earbuds are just screwed right away. So that's a nice plus that they've improved upon that. And then if you're going to use these for taking phone calls, they're using what they call dual air conduction mics and also using a bone conduction mic so that it's focusing more in on your voice and then kind of eliminating the things around you. And then on top of that, they're also using AI environmental noise canceling to block out external sounds as well. But you guys can be a judge by listening to a quick test here. So here is a quick mic test outdoors using the OpenDots 2. I do hear an air conditioner unit off to the side, and I can hear some traffic. There are a little bit of birds here and there too. So this is really just to give you an idea of what it would sound like if you were to take a call in public. So now let's talk about the sound. And I think this is where things definitely get interesting. And the price tag has a lot to do with this, because for a $200 pair of clip-on style earbuds, it just doesn't stand out enough for me. And you could definitely tell, and even in the advertisement, like the bass sphere, there is some focus on the low end, and that is what you can tell the second you put these on. You can feel the punch of the low end. You can feel that it has more bass than the original OpenDots 1, but that's not necessarily a great thing, because I feel like it also sacrifices your mids and your treble a little bit, to the point that no matter what EQ setting that I tried, no matter what I tried to do to customize it, it always felt like the mids and the treble were just lacking a little bit. Like they were just veiled because the bass was that prominent. Now, I like low end. I definitely wanted these to have bass, but I was looking for these to have the sound that my SHOKZ OpenFit Pros have, and the OpenDots 2 just didn't hit that. Now, it's not saying that these sound awful, but when you're trying out a lot of clip-on style earbuds and you have a lot that you can kind of compare these to, they definitely feel like they're lacking, and it feels like it's not, justifying that $200 price tag. And I think this is where there's another issue, or maybe this is a good thing, because SHOKZ also released the OpenDots Air, which is essentially, at least by comparison, this same earbud, but lacking some features. Not necessarily lacking sound, because everything else seems to be the exact same, with the exception of not having Dolby audio, and those come in at $129. So even without testing the OpenDots Air, I'm going to tell you right now, I feel like that is automatically a much better buy than the OpenDots 2. And this is not necessarily a knock on the OpenDots 2, but I don't feel like there's enough here to justify, if you already have the OpenDots 1, to buy the new ones. And the market the way that it is, I think there's just some really good competition out there at much lower prices. And it's nice that it has some of the features that it does. It's nice that it has Qi wireless charging. It's nice that it has the smart sensors. I'm a huge fan of the just putting it on your ears and letting it figure out which one is left, which one is right on its own. Again, it just, for me, it all comes back to the sound, and I just don't see enough here to justify the $200 price tag. But guys, that wraps up my video on the brand new SHOKZ OpenDots 2. Thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you so much for checking out all the other videos. And as always, make sure to stay tuned for more.